Okay, we're here at the junkyard, and I'm looking for some pieces, and I asked them if they had an 03 in back Dodge van, and they got this guy right here. And we're gonna see if we can get something off of here. And I'm already looking and thinking it might be different. This piece here is wider on this model because I need this section down here, but otherwise it looks like it could work. Possibly if you could take this piece out and bring it back together, or whatever the difference is there. Look at that. We got another one here. I don't know if there's anything else I could really use on a 72. This is almost one of the last years for this van. And they look about the same on the inside for the most part. Gotta look to see if there's another one. So we might consider that. This is some kind of a situation, cargo van here. This partition in it. Somebody did get the seats out of it. See, mine's a little different. If you noticed in the other videos, mine don't have that hump. Nor did it ever have that hump. It was flat. I think on these later engines, probably if you compare it to the wheel well or the steering wheel, something there that cut down, you'll notice, I think the motor on these, they moved them forward a few inches. That's why the front ends are a touch longer too. So what we might do, I mean, this looks better than what I got, I'll say that, and it'll keep me from having to fabricate all these curves and all this intricate stuff here. So we might we'll take a look. Okay, so we went ahead and decided to to have them cut that piece off of that van. I was actually surprised they were going to do it today. It's just after 1 o'clock now, and they close around 3, I think, which is kind of unusual for junkyards on a Saturday. This is a Saturday. And usually they'll tell you, oh, well, come back Monday and we'll do it, or we'll do it and then come back Monday and then we'll do it. They told me it'll be about an hour, and before I knew it, they had the whole van setting up in their work area by their shop, and I had taken a marker and marked out that area that I needed, and I kind of went a little liberal on it, just so you don't screw yourself when you realize you might need that extra little bit. So they got up there, and I think they might plasma cut it out or sawzall it. We'll see when we get it out. It's not really a big difference, but I do know that I'll have to take the length of it there in the middle where that piece is I showed you, where it's about that wide. That's kind of part of the outside external body, and then cut that out and then draw it in together. That's my first assumption of it, because mine does not have that piece in there, but everything on the sides of it up to the rocker panel, the backboard of the rocker panel matched. So I think we can make it work. We'll probably have to cut it apart and see what we got and try to just make it work and do it the right way, making it work, not just cobbling it together. So we'll do that, and we'll get the piece, and we'll show you the piece here shortly when they do get it. I'm going to eat right now and kill this hour until they call me back. So keep watching, and we'll have it for you. Okay, so we're back at the Hoosier garage, and here's our beautiful piece of rocker slash door jamb T section here. They cut it out a little extra than what I marked, so that's good. That's a good thing to have, so that gives you a little bit of excess. And I needed at least to the backstop here, because we do have some rust out there, and I figured it is a flat piece, but you might as well get it while it's there, you know, and it'd make it easier for them to cut it out anyways. So what we have here, that we have some differences. There's probably a 20 some odd year difference between these two pieces, this being a 72 van and this is coming off of I didn't get the exact year, but it runs mid late 90s to up to the last year of this body style, which was 2003. And over the course of these production years, you're going to have little changes. And you know, main thing I see, besides what I'm about ready to get into, the obvious, is there's little stuff like, if you look at this piece here, this looks very kind of simple, just like a boxed in piece of sheet metal. It's been bent, had flanges put on it. This one's flat, these are bent. And it goes into the back side of here and folds, get my camera on it, it folds downward, and then it would have came down probably and did the curve. You can see the imprint of where it used to be, where the rust is gone. And then it wrapped behind this piece here, this piece that ran down and had a flange on it, so it probably stopped right there. Now this one was more integrated. It was more a part of one piece, and that's not a bad thing, and it's not, you know, this wasn't a bad thing necessarily. Now the obvious, we'll try to set it up here. The obvious difference here that we'll have to contend with is this piece. I pointed out at the yard, but you got this piece here, which 1 5/8, okay, and that's going to be even all the way up. What you have here is you don't have that body, that external body portion. What it does is this stops and it flanges around, it lips a little bit, and then this piece sets into it, so this curls out, and then this piece kind of sets in a channel right there and fits in. So when you have the door shut, you really don't see any of this. You might see the little seam where it's curled, but you don't see it like that. So overall, let's say from this flat part to this flat part is about 3.5. Now the same thing here, about 2 3/4. So what we'll do when we get ready to get all this ready is we will try to preserve the idea of this lip. So what I'll do is, where my fingernail is, we'll cut this all the way down through here, from top to bottom, excuse me, and then we'll try to duplicate that, because it's probably the same. Let me set this up here. It might be easier for you to watch it this way. There we go. So my distance from that imaginary lip I just said we're going to have to make my fingernail there to this piece, inch and a half, and the same thing, inch and a half, and then we'll also just do some other precautionary measurements from that same point to this little steps. So there's a couple, there's this step, and this step, and then your lip here. So we'll go, instead of this one, we'll go a little bit further, try to come in just maybe an 1/8 of an inch here. And I've got about 2 1/2. So if I do the same thing there, 2 1/2. So this is pretty much an identical stamping from this point out. Okay? And even this, you can tell the way it rotted, it kind of, the metal has rusted away right here, and it kind of returns to normal here, because this is what was exposed. Well, this is where all the water ate through it, and salt, or whatever the situation was there, and got underneath that and rotted it out. Plus there may have been a little lap. So this piece will set back on here, but see, I got a rust hole here. So the good thing is I have some excess. I can use this in this bin. These are factory bins that were stamped that way. I can cut that piece a little extra and replace a lot of this main board, running board here. That's the word, running board. And then we'll put it down through there. And when we do this side, it looks like this one might be a hair wider. Just taking a quick look at it. But we can fudge on this one, because this whole thing's gonna get cut out at least to about here. So you could kind of compromise a little bit on that. But the basic gist of this whole thing is we're gonna take this whole thing and just shrink it. We're gonna cut it down and bring it together, trim it up here. I don't need, right here, here's your body line that goes through and goes over the wheels. That's what this one is here. So it gives you, it's nice having these little indicators to see where everything falls. So we don't need that far up. We can actually, we have about an inch, maybe 1.25 to the top of this. 1.25 from the apex of this to the top of that. But I don't really want to just cut right on top of this piece here. I want to give myself a little bit. So we will probably cut right above this one, and it's identical here. You have this lap here. We'll cut maybe right above here and cut this whole section where my hand is here off. Clean that up real good. And with that being wide there, it makes this wider. So we'll probably end up cutting that right down the middle and splicing it back together to where instead of being what it is 5 inches, ours here 3.25. All right, so we'll want to bring this down 1.75 inches here to shrink it down to this size. Cut all this section out here, remove it, remove probably part of this. I think I can keep my rocker panel here. And this one's been bashed in a little bit there, so we can cut maybe right there, get all this cleaned up, bring them back together. And it's simpler than it sounds, but you just have to think first before you go hopping in there with it. But we'll get to it, and probably the next day or so. So make sure you like and subscribe and all that business. And thanks for watching.